Hi, today's speech is to share two unique features in Japanese culture, in Tiger and audience to think what they can learn from them. At the end of my speech, I hope everyone could remember at least one I create feature in Japanese culture, and I think about what we can learn from it. As the first model country in Asia, Japan has unique mixture of culture and value that make Japan very charming. There are many things we could learn from Japanese culture. Some of you may have seen a Japanese movie called Dream of Sushi. There is a script in this movie. When you decide on your application, you must immerse yourself in your work. You have to fall in love with your work. Remember, complain about your job. You must decide your life to master your skill. That's the secret of the success, and this is the key to gain regret horribly. June Dream of Sushi to 2020. This script features how Japan decide to their work, which is very unique feature in Japanese culture and want the respect from all of us. Today I will share with you this feature which I think could represent Japanese culture. I hope we think about what we can learn from it together. Japanese culture is complicated to say because it is the mixed tradition and innovation, richness and entertainment, interaction and open. It is this mix in their culture made it very unique, but to be explored by us. Robert in this accident tradition date back thousands of years. Japan maintained tradition feature in their culture in everyday lives. The first unique feature about the traditional aspect of the Japanese culture is to respect for us action. In this basement of the Tokyo office building, 85 years old sushi master John Wan works terrace in this world. Ringworld Restaurant, junior sushi chefs will learn for 10 years because they are one of being called as chef. And modern farmer will treat his crop carefully, like how he treats with us children. The next unique feature about the traditional aspect of Japanese culture is to respect for food. Japanese cook most rarely use seasonings of them: soy sauce, ginger, fish stock, and mirin. The idea to make food taste like the food that it is, not dreams it up and mix up and hate it. The final unique feature about the traditional speech of Japanese culture is to respect of cleanliness. Japanese has the sense of shared ownership of the public area, and they promote the respect of the bounds of the space of the cleanliness. Japanese is gradually a lot of cleaner and other countries. Now that you know the traditional aspect of Japanese culture, then I want to introduce you to the modern part of the Japanese culture. The work hard, play hard after the day hard working from say 7 a.m. to 7 a.m. Japanese workers are really ready to really take off their uniform off and go to the have some. Entertainment, there is the various kind and entertainment in Japanese culture that makes the Japanese could release their inner spirit after one day pork face. The first unique feature about the model aspect of the Japanese culture in bra shopping. In Japanese culture, having a fun in bar after work is very common. If the workplace is great and retail, the bar is the ideal place for businessmen to release their in-high base. You can see how the businessmen wear the uniform and during their work and in the family immediately take this of the transfer to culture to dance in the bar. The second unique feature about the models aspect of Japanese culture in Japanese restaurant. Like many culture, the food is often one of the primary feature in Japanese culture, and the very restaurant in Japanese represent the food culture. Many towns and cities in Japanese are known first and foremost for their local special in restaurant. It may be a type of the sweet fish noodle, seaweed or tofu, so on. The third unique feature about the model aspect of Japanese culture is the growing popularity of Japanese comic and Japanese animation has become an international phenomenon. Each of us should be able to remember at least 3 pieces of Japanese commentary and Japanese animation. There are also some unique features in the Japanese culture that inspire people over the world. I'd like to share the which we could learn from that. There are some unique features in Japanese culture that want all of us to thinking and learn. The first culture feature we can learn is don't worry it out if you can avoid it. There's a concept in Japanese called motenten, which more or less translate to shame of the pointless waste. Sure, Japanese people throw away lots of everything, but people are more aware of it. There are discount bits and at the supermarket for produce that getting a bit old. May get pressed down close to closing time in the hope that someone will be buy it. If you go that the right time, you can get made half price. On one personal note, I haven't seen friends eat sashimi that had been still out all night because it would be motivating to throw it out, or have a friend just cut off the bad part of the sometimes that I might be depend on to throw out entirely. Memorial Day is the nation holiday that was established in 1868, so people could take a day to remember that friends and relatives to who died in a civil war. The second cultural feature we can learn is keeping the honest relation with the others by speaking in a way that doesn't hurt the other's feeling and thinking from the others people perspective. Their way of speaking in indirect way, but to point is truly amazing and is one of the many qualities that I wish to embed. They make sure their word when they speak and ensure they don't awkward you. When I was working at Honda, there was some simple mistake that one of the senior employers had made because of which the project get a bit delayed. He made a project about that and told the group that is a mistake would not be repeated again. The others didn't blame him at all and showed their complete understanding of the viewpoint, unlike some of the other workplaces outside Japanese. The last cultural feature we can learn is the miracle gratitude. Means the small act of the gratitude are inherent in the culture and the language. Life in Japan is spread with the donza of the act of the gratitude and appreciation. For example, because chonjang and the delicious main noodles, Japanese people will say takamisu which means I humble receive in appreciation of the meal in front of them. After meal they say guanchu sama, which is the thanks of the meal thanks of the meal and all of the effort that was put in preparing the food. As you can see, there are many unique features in Japanese culture that made a fascinating and manufacture. There are many things we can learn from Japanese culture to make our world a better place. The Japanese culture is charming because on the one hand, enrolled in the old history and the convention which was the maintained constantly one the other's hand. After the first model culture is Asian history. It is full of fun for chemistry. Thank you.